Yes, here we go. This is what we came for. Arsenal against Liverpool from the FA Premier League. Arsenal chasing trophies on 3 fronts. Liverpool are out of everything, but there's a good deal of pride at stake for them this afternoon. A fair few number of the Liverpool fans have travelled. There's a big supporters club in London, of course. These fixtures in the capital always well attended. And they don't come much bigger than this one, do they? Arsenal against Liverpool. Is that down the league is the taunt, I think, is it? It is at the moment. Liverpool in the bottom 6 as they come into this match, which is not a position we're used to finding them in. The head-to-head league meetings these down the years, 137 of them. Arsenal have won 50, Liverpool 54, 33 have finished in draws. Arsenal odds on, Liverpool 3-1, 9-4 the draw. First to score, well, 4 at 7-1 there. Campbell, Merson, Smith and Rush. John Barnes of Liverpool, 8-1. I told you he came, Jeremy Beadle. And Kevin Costner is another big fan when he's in the country. Watch out, Beadle's about. Coming up on Sky Sports, 7 o'clock this Wednesday, the 4th round replay between Leeds United and Arsenal. To the finish, of course. And Super Sunday next week, note the kick-off time, 11:30 in the morning. Spurs against Southampton, 11:30 start. Match kicks off at 1 o'clock. Talk back 071 782 3888 if you'd like to talk to Frank Clintock or Phil Thompson or Andy Gray in the last hour of the show. 071 782 3888. Big smile from David James, otherwise it's fairly serious in the Liverpool ranks. Terry Adams making a bit of space. Liverpool skippered by John Barnes again. And as Phil Thompson rightly points out, Steve Nicholls fit. He has been captain when he's fit. Here we go, let's settle back and take this one in. Arsenal and Liverpool live on Sky Sports. Match commentators Andy Gray and Martin Tyler.
A year ago this weekend, Arsenal embarked on a 17-match unbeaten run to finish last season with a real flourish. Given that the title could be taken by the lowest total since 3 points for a win was put into practice in 1981, another charge from now on, and the 10 teams currently above them could all be within reach. Liverpool's league position, on the other hand, will be looked at by football fans all over the world with a sense of disbelief. The Arsenal side today virtually selected itself, with John Jensen joining Ian Wright on the sideline through suspension, and Steve Bold, Anders Limpar, Mark Flatts and Colin Pate still suffering with injuries. The vacant spot from the lineup which started against Leeds goes to Jimmy Carter. Carter spent 9 months with Liverpool. He has been in the shadows in his 16 months at Highbury, but he is in the starting lineup for the first time since August.
Yes, Martin, it's for me, the inclusion of Jimmy Carter will mean that I think George Graham will revert to a 4-4-2 formation. I think Paul Merson will play on the left side. They'll play 2 central midfield players and Campbell and Smith up front.
Well, Graham Souness is still trying to find the right order in a mix of old and new. 2 of the former category are fit again, Ian Rush and Steve Nicol, along with one who should represent a bright future, Steve McManaman. David James is the current incumbent in goal. Mike Hooper on the bench. Bruce Grubbelar in Africa on World Cup duty. Torben Picnic is unfit, but Norway's Stig Inge Bjørneby does play for the 7th successive game, but he's yet to be on a winning side.
Well, Graham Souness could do 1 or 2 things, but I think the formation he will start the game with will be that. Again, it will be 4-4-2. McManaman on the right. I actually think Mike Marsh will play on the left side, Paul Stewart just inside. But the interesting one will be, I think, John Barnes will be asked to partner Ian Rush up front. And I'm personally looking forward to this little tussle. 2 19-year-olds in the centre of midfield. And although they may not be in direct opposition, the influence of either Jamie Redknapp's passing or Ray Parlour's thrusting runs really could go a long way to deciding the game.
The referee is Keith Cooper from South Wales. A Welshman with a real twinkle in the eyes. Well, Paul Merson has been so prominent for Arsenal. The winner at Manchester City 2 weeks ago, and the glorious goal which kept his club in the FA Cup last Monday. Graham Souness tends to provoke deep opinions for and against, but in football, the taking of Liverpool into a new era is recognised as a major task. It does need a forceful character at the helm, and Graham has never shirked a challenge. The goals that Liverpool have been scoring suggest that there's not too much wrong with the flair in their football. Their main target now is to settle their defence into a stable unit. David James, who's playing at Highbury for the first time and looking for his first shutout in the senior team since he joined Liverpool in the summer. The type of pitch that the players should enjoy. They will also enjoy the stillness in the air. And here's Jimmy Carpet. Merson. Now Campbell. Rob Jones has gone across. Merson, who is always favouring the right foot. It's rather wasted from that position by Nigel Winterburn in the end. Or perhaps he would say that nobody had attacked the ball at the far post for Arsenal.
Well, just looking quickly at it, Martin, both teams are lined up as I thought. Both 4-4-2, and Mike Marsh is the player who's been asked to play on this wide side here.
Both Arsenal and Liverpool have to live with enormous expectations. Their traditions dictate that. Every performance is subject to extra analysis, and when they meet, it is always a special occasion, even though the league positions at present 11th and 17th. Kevin Campbell, who almost completed the recovery on Monday night here when he had a late chance to get the better of an old teammate, John Lukic. Arsenal, of course, scheduled to go to Ellen Road for their fourth round replay on Wednesday, which you can see live here on Sky Sports. Mike Marsh is poised to challenge David Seaman, who was certainly not distracted.
It's a bit like a David and Goliath, though, isn't it?
Here's Dixon. Parlour infield. But not in control. Stopped by Bjornaby. Handed back to Linnigan and Hillier. Alan Smith is onside. He's got Steve Nicol for company, but the ball beats them. Tend to forget that on that fateful occasion at Anfield, when Arsenal won the title with the last kick of the season in 1989, Michael Thomas's goal is always remembered. Alan Smith was the other scorer for Arsenal in that match. At a very vital time. Free kick against Parlour.
I think if you were George Graham, you really would be saying to your players to put them under as much pressure, the Liverpool players, as you possibly can. Don't allow them to settle into a passing game. Try and make them play it long, because certainly with Adams and Linnigan in the back four, you would fancy them to have the advantage height-wise over Barnes and Rush.
Jamie Redknapp takes the free kick. McManaman. Now Rob Jones. McManaman gets the break of the ball. And the cross lands on the mural rather than into an area where Liverpool could attack it.
I would like to have said to Steve McManaman, it took a little bobble there, but as we mentioned earlier, the pitch is so perfect, I can't give him any defence for that poor cross.
Liverpool 3 consecutive defeats, and 15 days they've had to ponder it. A trip to Ireland with an attempt there to get the players together and let them talk through their troubles. And we'll see just what extra purpose maybe an unusually long preparation for this game has brought for Liverpool. But here's Smith for Arsenal and Carter. Marsh, whose versatility has suited the Anfield cause. Carter, who'd love to put on a show today. Deep from Dixon. James has got considerable height already before he reached up even further.
Well, unless he makes an awful mistake, that really is not the kind of cross that's going to trouble a goalkeeper. Goalkeeper of David James's ability. He loves just coming and picking them out. He really does.
Well, Liverpool's problems have been well documented. It might come as a surprise, I tell you, that Arsenal have won only 1 of their last 9 in the Premier League. They have been putting jam on their bread in January with cup successes, and they are unbeaten this year, despite the injuries that have kept Gary Lewin busy. David Hillier, who's had a visit to the hairdressers, I think, over the last few days.
Took a little knock there just as the play had died and the referee had blown his whistle. Paul Stewart just nicked David Hillier as he was going for the ball.
Well, there are injured Arsenal players dotted around the ground. We've got one of them up here on the gantry with us, Anders Limpar, who's broadcasting to Scandinavia. And having spent time on the treatment table, I'm sure he's got an expert opinion on the difficulties for David Hillier and the qualities of Gary Lewin for solving them.
You see there is Paul Stewart's just gone in to play the ball away and just catches David Hillier on what would be a very bony part of his body there on the hip.
Paul Stewart might not get a sympathetic hearing on this ground as a former Tottenham man. Oh, and Rush came in. It almost dropped for Mark Wright. Redknapp saying that's mine. And Stewart giving Rob Jones more difficulty than he deserved. And he's lost out to Campbell. Here's Merson. Jones gets it back.
Good pressure play from Arsenal though, wasn't it? I mean, Rob Jones would have at times expected to have dwelt on that, but Paul Merson was having none of it. Put him under pressure immediately.
Arsenal, who won 2-0 at Anfield at the start of the season, a match in which Ray Parlour was particularly prominent. Calculation between Redknapp and Jones, but Parlour, who made his debut of course the season before also at Anfield, and usually expects something eventful when he confronts the team from the northwest. Short free kick to Merson, cut out by Redknapp. Hillier to Winterburn. Hillier again. Merson, even when he's on the left, tends to cross with the outside of his right foot rather than in the more orthodox manner. And of course, Leeds ruining the fact that they allowed him to come in on his right side at the very end of the ground that he's attacking now on Monday night.
You can bet your life that Graham Souness and his team have certainly stressed that point to him. With him playing on that left side, if you're going to show him anywhere, as he admits, he hasn't got a left foot, then they'll be sending him on the outside as much as possible.
Barnes, who in the past has expressed a liking for playing through the centre. Well, Paul Stewart is putting himself about.
So the ref might have actually caught a glimpse of his little challenge on David Hillier a little earlier. And that being his second one in quick succession, the referee just saying, any more of that, and I'm sure his name will go in the book. The one thing we know about Paul Stewart, he's certainly competitive, isn't he?
It was Jimmy Carter who copped it that time. Carter's okay. Was signed by Kenny Dalglish for Liverpool just before the Dalglish departure. Linnigan out by right. Rush working back.
They might have a problem at set pieces today, Liverpool, Martin. I think they're undermanned, or they're short on height at the back there. And it was noticeable that Andy Linnigan was coming there over the top of Bjornaby and Mike Marsh, who's got a distinct height advantage over. I think if Arsenal spread their big boys about at set pieces and corners, Liverpool are going to have difficulty covering every one of them.
Barnes. Taken up here by Marsh. Stewart. Harris quickly by Parler, who's got added aggression in his game this season.
Well, they may have got the free kick there, but I think it's a little warning, isn't it, to the Liverpool players that they've got to be sharp and quick on the ball, certainly early on in this game.
You do feel that the first goal could be particularly important in this match. The word from Wimbledon the last time Liverpool played a couple of weekends ago was that Liverpool knocked the ball around well early on, but once they went a goal behind, they were by no means the same side, and the powers of recovery that day seemed very limited. So Arsenal trying, I'm sure, armed with that knowledge, to draw first blood here. And then we will see whether Graham Souness is a couple of weeks away from the pressures of a match, has been able to just lift the spirits in the camp.
And sometimes it's a good thing if you're struggling, man, to get away like that in a break. But what I think they are showing is they're showing 10, 12 days away from competitive football. The first 2 or 3 minutes, the passing's not quite accurate enough. They've been a little bit lazy on the ball, and Arsenal certainly put them under pressure.
Winterburn. Taking Adams out, really. Fairly enough, too. And still Barnes, almost sliding it through to Rush. And suddenly there was a problem for Arsenal where, when the ball was initially played up, you'd have backed Adams to head it away. And there's another bit of push and shove between Adams and Barnes. McManaman. Barnes, for whom Highbury has been a good ground in the past. Arsenal are worried about David Hillier, who was injured early. And David O'Leary, looks to me as though he's getting ready there to come on. Hillier is still limping. Adams' header is a weak one, quite out of character. Redknapp. Bjornaby must be wondering quite what he's let himself in for coming to play in England, the way the results have gone in his early games. And now Stewart has gone too far. He's going to be booked, and if he doesn't keep his thoughts for himself here, it might be more serious. Keith Cooper pointing off and saying, any more of that? Persistent infringement throughout the opening 13 minutes. And it's the signal as we look at this again.
It's what they call, I think, a two-footed tackle, isn't it, Martin? And I think it's just a simple fact that it's his third one after being told about it only a couple of minutes ago.
A booking to record and a substitution. David O'Leary.
It's a bit of a blow, that, to Arsenal.
Or David Hillier. O'Leary had a couple of games recently in that middle of midfield role. Played there in the Cup at Yeovil. Campbell. Linegan. It's a long one. And Mark Wright saw it coming. Rob Jones trying to keep the ball in play. Only gave it to Merson. And Liverpool really could have settled for less risk perhaps at the throw. Winterburn. Flag is up for offside, and that gives us a chance to bring in Nick Collins for news on David Hillier.
Well, Martin, you were right when you were saying you thought it might be that challenge earlier on that was the problem for David Hillier. Indeed it is. The Arsenal bench, in fact, none too happy with that challenge. And in fact, David Hillier has gone off with stud marks on his thigh. So he's in a bit of pain at the moment, but that's the reason why he's gone off and David O'Leary is on.
Thanks, Nick. Back to Nicol. And France is in front of Linegan. And that gave the defender a problem he could only solve with a push. Liverpool will take the free kick. Short to Stewart. Certainly Liverpool determined to stand their ground in midfield, knowing that Arsenal are a powerful team with a positive style and not too many frills about their own midfield game.
Although I think that's a blow that young David Hillier's had to go off, and David O'Leary come on, Martin. I think it would have been a bigger blow had it been the other central midfield player, Ray Parlour. Because what David will do is just slot into the position David Hillier left.
That was Lee Dixon completely miskicking there. And trying to see a little bit of humour in the situation that could have been very serious.
And very embarrassing, goodness. It was spinning viciously. But Lee Dixon should have been able to have dealt with it. And they've got another problem. Tony Adams now down.
Well, given the high profile of this particular Premier League game and what Arsenal face in the FA Cup on Wednesday, the regular appearances on the pitch of Gary Lewin and the long list of players who are injured already, worrying for George Graham. Neil Heaney, who's an England under-21 international, is the remaining outfield substitute. He's made stern stuff, Tony Adams, and on he goes. But the game starts with a corner. And Lee Dixon in particular will be hoping that Liverpool don't make too much of this.
That was a poor ball in, wasn't it? They actually worked some space there in the corner and got a 2-against-1 situation. Arsenal was slow to push men out towards the ball, but Bjornaby's delivery there wasn't really good enough at all. But it has been a bit bitty. You know, the first 17 minutes of the game hasn't really settled to any pattern at all.
Stig Inge Bjornaby, who's got a sporting background. His father took part in the Winter Olympics on 2 occasions in ski jumping. And indeed, the younger Bjornaby started off in that sport. Merson. A couple of ricochets there, but it is a corner. And the height that Arsenal have increased by the arrival of O'Leary as well. But the biggest man on the pitch.
That's poor, that's poor, Martin. You've got such a height advantage, even more so, as you say, with the introduction of David O'Leary. And I would just be concentrating in set pieces and missing Mark Wright out. He's the best header of the ball. You can only mark one person. If you miss him out, you must have a chance.
Campbell made space for a shot. Oh, and Smith coming in as James found it initially awkward to grasp at the first attempt.
Well, he beats Mark Wright very easily here, doesn't he? Gets 2 square on for me. Cuts in, keeper doesn't quite hold it there, but recovers well and just takes a knock, I think, on the way through. But it beats him too easily for me there, Mark Wright.
Well, it was a little Merson-like, wasn't it, checking onto the right foot there and making space. Graham Souness speaking this week, saying that he has greater hopes now for Mark Wright, that he might have settled in after some inconsistent spells.
Well, he's an England international, Martin, and he doesn't become a bad player overnight. He has taken some criticism this year about his performances. But if you've got quality, the only thing it might be lacking then is a little bit of self-confidence.
He might not be the only one for Liverpool in that respect. The goal would mean so much for them. They've got a corner. McManaman's attempt was deflected before it got too far. Steve McManaman, of course, picked up a bad knee injury here at Highbury against Portsmouth in the FA Cup semi-final last April. Linnigan, solidly hoisted forward by Nicol. Good jump by McManaman, well read by Barnes, who's got the strength to go with the skill, of course, playing with his back to goal. And although that hurt Barnes, he was a little too astute for Linnigan. And it's another Liverpool free kick. 20 minutes gone. Just a little more of an acute angle than when Barnes did so well against Portsmouth. Spoilt their semi-final here, setting up the late equaliser last April for Ronnie Whelan. In from Barnes. And Stewart was gesturing as though it did come off him at the end.
I think you're right, I think it was Paul Stewart. What they do, they attack the ball very well here. Pulls behind Andy Linnigan, and actually both of them making contact with the ball. He certainly showed his old striker's instinct there, Paul Stewart, didn't he, getting in there?
Smith. Back for James to kick. From McManaman. I'm not sure the goalkeeper would have thanked him for that. But off goes Barnes, and if they can get the ball to him in these areas, well, it could turn out to be a good day for Liverpool. They certainly need one. Oh, and Rush! Seaman had stayed at home, and if Rush could have reached it from that range, you'd have backed him to have got the better of the goalkeeper.
Yeah, I don't think the goalkeeper had any option but to stay at home. This cross is never in his territory for me. But how agonisingly close it is for Rush. Spots the flight of it early, but knows he's not going to reach it. How frustrating for him.
Bounced on by Smith. Genevieve, who played for Norway at Wembley. Parlour, there's no offside. Liverpool caught square by Campbell. And the ball caught by the goalkeeper. Liverpool counter-attacking quickly through McManaman. Gets the better of Winterburn. Barnes checking out. Deflected, and it's a corner and not a goal, and Liverpool thought that Barnes might have made a breakthrough then.
Well, he does ever so well, McManaman here. But Winterburn gets no cover there. Barnes just pulls off the defenders, and you know what he's trying to do. He's looking to bend this one away, but it's deflected just wide. Good, positive break from Liverpool there, after being under pressure themselves.
We're halfway through the first half. Jamie Redknapp with the corner. Barnes climbing. When you think that Barnes didn't score a solitary league goal in 1992, largely because he didn't play very much, you can see what Liverpool were deprived of, but he's got going again in the Premier League, a goal against Aston Villa, although in the midst of another defeat. Parlour. generations playing in England, increasing almost by the week. Frank Strandley, a scorer for Leeds on Saturday. Ingebrigtsen played for Manchester City. Here's Barnes for Liverpool, and Rush is offside.
But how often have we seen Ian Rush make that little diagonal run in behind centre-backs for a straight pass? Watch the way he pulls away, and then he goes diagonally across the defence. It's very, very close, isn't it? Who'd be a linesman? But he times that run so very, very well, Ian Rush.
David Orr, who incidentally ran the same line on Monday night in the Cup tie. Marsh. Came off Mike Marsh. Smith. Nicol being told to turn away, and probably didn't need the advice. He's been around long enough to realise that was the sensible course. Well, it's still a throw-in. FIFA will want it to be a kick-in in future. A major talking point in the game. If it happens, there are plenty of us that hope that it doesn't. Jones. That's a stray one from Winterburn. Tried to make up for the error, but the ball's rolled on behind him. And here goes McManaman, doing what he does with such a natural flair. Oh, Barnes! And it was looking good for Liverpool again for a moment or two. And Nicol came off the head. James can pick it up.
It looked ominous there for Arsenal. You're right there, because as it dropped to John Barnes, he was trying to control it on that favourite left foot of his. And had he done so, you could just picture him just bending one in the corner.
Dixon eyeing Rush and waiting for him, committing him. And then Dixon ended up not just on the track, but in what used to be a standing area of the ground where the photographers now operate. Merson almost angling it through for Campbell. Campbell doing his best to make sure that George Graham has a selection problem, with Ian Wright available again on Wednesday. Winterburn. Here's Parler, pressed by Stewart, who's not pulling out despite the fact he's been booked. Position in which Merson called Winterburn to leave it. Adams is now on that far forward. Rush should come back for something played at him, not over him. McManaman. Goes outside him, and trying to get ahead of him now. He's got into McManaman's space, which he now wants to vacate. Well, Liverpool kept the ball, but the nature of the tackle by Winterburn was violent enough for Keith Cooper to decide that it wasn't a case of advantage there. He's got to enforce the law.
But it's a bit hot-headed, Nigel Winterburn, isn't he? That's the only thing I can say about this tackle is it's awful. Nothing to be proud about the challenge at all here. Launched himself out from a long way, and I think the referee absolutely spot on in his decision here. Ball's away, goes in high, it goes in late. You can't expect anything else other than a booking there.
And for some of us, Winterburn was a bit fortunate not to be booked here on Monday night, late in the game, for another moment of wildness in between. In his defence, he's the most consistent left back. Carter trying to attack the Liverpool left back, stinging Björneby. Carter's cross, Campbell comes back to Carter again. That hits Stewart rather than deliberate handball. Jimmy Carter, incidentally, is an Arsenal fan from his boyhood days, brought up not too far away from here in Islington. but played at Crystal Palace, Queen's Park Rangers, Millwall, before going north to Liverpool and finally coming to his favourite club.
I felt a little bit sorry for Jimmy Carter in this first half an hour, man. They've not been able really to get him in the game as much as I think they would have liked. I certainly think that is Arsenal's best option, apart from knocking the ball long to Alan Smith for flick-ons. And certainly the wide men of Carter and Merson look like to me that they're like the ones to supply any keys that are needed to unlock Liverpool's defence.
It's been so far so good for Liverpool, but that could change with almost half an hour gone here if Arsenal can make something from this long throw. O'Leary lined it up. Parler is concentrating quite rightly on keeping his shot down, but it's a forest of legs. Merson beat Jones well, but found Rush coming back. There's been some pleasing and promising moments from McManaman already for Liverpool. Stewart supplying the steal and upsetting the home crowd. Marsh, Barnes, a little too tight for Graham Souness' side then. But Mike Marsh, as long as he's in the team, is happy to take up any number of positions. Wide left on the midfield today. That's Smith, hoping to fashion something as the ball dropped quickly. Coming up on Sky Sports, Arsenal at Leeds in the FA Cup on Wednesday, live of course on Sunday. Our programme begins at 11:30 AM, Spurs against Southampton. Southampton very much in the news after what they did to Aston Villa. Contest between Nicol and Campbell, raw strength against terrific experience. Nicol's been a marvellous player for Liverpool down the years. Oh, Redknapp's made a mistake, and in the end Smith, who took a while to master the bounce, very nearly outmanoeuvred the goalkeeper. He might well have done, in fact, had the shot been on target.
Not so much a mistake here, as he just can't quite reach it. He's always struggling. Whether Mark Wright's giving him a shout, I don't know. But I also think Alan Smith shouldn't be allowed that time to turn and so nearly curl a shot into the corner. It's really a fine effort. You see the bend on the ball, but just not enough for Big Smithy.
Alan Smith with only 2 goals this season is way down his usual return, but he does much more than score, of course, which is why he's still much admired by the clubs we've mentioned before, aware that his contract is up with Arsenal at the end of this season. Well, Paul Stewart, after the way he started the game, will be well aware that any error like that, mishit pass, will be seized upon by supporters who he's irritated. Nil-nil, and the two sides do look evenly matched. Arsenal, of course, came very strongly in the second half up at Anfield in August. But the 2 goal scorers in that game are playing today. Although Ray Parler, who was the heartbeat of the team in that second half, is out there. The scorers were Anders Limpar and Ian Wright, let me remind you. We were wondering, Andy, whether Graham Souness would have been tempted to play Steve McManaman on the left you can see why he's used him on the right. He's been influential so far.
It certainly looked the best option, hasn't it? He's looked to be troubling Nigel Winterburn every time he's got the ball.
Off the head of Campbell to Carter. Going to be letting him go inside. Merson coming from beyond the far post. It's still in play. A swing of the right foot again. And it's produced a corner. He talks about his weak left foot, Paul Merson, but there are plenty who envy what he's got in his right. With that right foot, he will take the corner. Minigan has made a late run, and Stewart got in front of him. It's another corner. It's Carter to contribute this time at the set piece. Adams, Linigan, Smith, O'Leary, all useful in the air. Campbell as well. And Liverpool defending at the moment with some difficulty. 10 minutes left in the first half. James has come, only patted it down, and he was helped by Rush. Liverpool had pulled everyone back. Carter beats Rush. Couldn't quite get beyond the second line of defence. Bjornaby. Barnes. Here's Rob Jones. Staying forward. Barnes. Rush. It's aiming for Jones, who was in fairly unfamiliar territory then. Parler. And Rush hoping that Barnes was able to set off behind Arsenal then. But at the other end, it was an awkward moment for David James, Andy.
But what I think he knows as well, Martin, he knows his team are depending an awful lot on him to do that today because of the lack of height there. And at all times, he wants to come out and try and help them. But there are times when he's out that far, 16, 17 yards, he's got to just sort of say, hey, wait a minute, I can't be going out there. But he chanced his arm and got away with it.
James playing for the 14th time in Liverpool's first team this season. Mike Hooper's played 14, Bruce Grobbelaar 9. The changing there, an indication of the fact that Graham Souness hasn't been able to sort out really who's the best, or the chosen one hasn't been consistent enough to hold the place for long periods. But the Liverpool manager preaching the need for a settled defensive unit. He feels if he can get that, the rest will fall into place. Barnes. Dixon taking on perhaps a bit too much. Stewart wanting the ball. Bjornaby. David Burrows, remember, is one of the Liverpool casualties still. Michael Thomas, of course, who would have loved to have been out there playing today. He's here, but on crutches.
There's a lot of quality players that both sides could have put out today that are not on show.
But they do have big squads, and injuries are part of the game. Plenty of attractive talents we've seen already in the sides that have been selected today.
He looks in a bit of agony here. Doesn't he, little Mike Marsh, as he goes? Doesn't look like an awful lot happens there, but he certainly was lying there clutching the back of his right ankle round about his Achilles area.
It looked a genuine attempt to play the ball by Jimmy Carter.
Look, nothing in the tackle, Martin, really. Whether it was after the initial challenge, he just jammed it or overstretched the Achilles area.
It's down the back of the right leg. hopes not as far down as the Achilles tendon, which has been the Achilles heel for Liverpool. So many players have missed matches with that particular complaint.
Well, that's certainly the area he was looking at, and certainly the area he was holding.
It's happened so often since he took over as manager. Phil Borsma allowing Mike Marsh to go on for the time being. Half-time just over 5 minutes away. Maybe they will reassess it then, but it's not looking over-promising at the moment for Marsh. Björneby. Lenigan stopping Barnes, getting round him. He's a big man, Andy Lenigan. O'Leary. On for David Hillier if you've just joined us. Right. It's when the ball just starts to bounce off the ground that you can feel the worry in the mind of goalkeepers. A straightforward kick is much easier than trying some sort of volley. Carter. This might be a bit deep, Andy, but what do you make of the FIFA proposals for throw-ins to become kick-ins? And don't forget, you can't be offside from a throw-in, so I presume you couldn't be from a long kick from that sort of position.
Well, I'm sure they would have to tamper again with the offside rules, Martin, and make people offside from kick-ins if that were the case. I certainly hope it's not something that we get in the game. I can just picture teams getting kick-ins halfway in their own half, throwing everybody forward to the edge of the opponent's box and just whacking it there, and I certainly don't think that would benefit football.
Ooh, well, Barnes on the far side, McManaman in the middle coming back.
I think it was McManaman, you're right there, who's the one who was caught offside. I thought Barnes in. But when I first saw it there, I thought John Barnes is okay. See, Barnes is... Oh, it's tight. But certainly McManaman was well offside. Barnesy very tight.
Dixon. Carter. Hasn't been able to produce a regular supply, largely because he hasn't been supplied so much himself.
He's looked quite sprightly to me, and he's looked as if he's wanted the ball, Jimmy Carter. And I certainly would be anxious to tell the Arsenal players to get the ball to these wide men as often as possible.
Cleared with a grimace of pain by Mike Marsh. They might not wait until half-time. And Don Hutchison looks like a man in a hurry to get on. Sometimes wonder, the ball's out, why players who would wear tie-ups in a game don't wear them when they're preparing for a game, sitting there as substitute. Stewart again catching the eye of the referee and the crowd. It's a throw from Dixon. Here's Winterburn going again. Merson can't find him, not the first time, but he's done now. Winterburn trying something extravagant to get in across. McManaman, ball bounced high enough for Lenigan to get his head to it.
Well, they're trying to get Mike Marsh off, but I think he looks a lot more comfortable now, and I don't think he particularly wants to come off. Don Hutchison putting the jacket back on, and I think they probably now will wait till half-time. That certainly makes sense if Mike Marsh feels confident enough to get it through the next couple of minutes.
Redknapp. Rush. Here's McManaman. Liverpool looking for a goal just before half-time. David Seaman, who hasn't had a great deal directed at his goal. Despite the work by McManaman on the right, the threat of Barnes and rush through the centre, and the fact that Liverpool's stronger cards this season have been in attack. Mark Wright trying to prevent the corner. He's done that.
That was an important interception from Mark Wright there. He had the option to leave the ball for his goalkeeper, but had he done so, Alan Smith was ready to pounce.
Maybe the last chance in the first half for Arsenal. Adams, who's gone up for the throw. Smith. Adams again. And slipped at the crucial moment.
Not leading by example, isn't he there? Trying to spark his team into life. It hasn't been the best first half that I've witnessed between these two sides.
Campbell. Parler pressing Stewart, forcing him back. And James imparting far too much backspin on that. Getting underneath the ball. But what will please Liverpool supporters, I'm sure, is the attitude of the team. Whatever the circumstances, it's always a big game on the Liverpool fixture list. Arsenal away. Of course, they were beaten here 4-0 at the end of last season. On Easter Monday, if memory serves me right. 0-0 here in the dying embers of the first half. First half in which the flames of the fire haven't burnt perhaps as brightly as sometimes when the sides clash.
That was a needless free kick Rob Jones conceded there, right in the stroke of half-time. His team under more pressure.
In from Merson, up goes Adams! And really, it was one where, as the ball dropped, Adams jumping with Barnes, you might have backed Arsenal to take the lead then.
You might have backed the big goalkeeper to come for it as well, the way he has done the first half, but Adams gets up there, gets a clear header, but just can't keep it on target. See how easily he wins that. And that's the advantage Arsenal have at set pieces.
Marsh. And that's about as much as Mike Marsh could muster there. He couldn't run on with the ball. And again, the pain showing quite blatantly. It's a case of one stride and take a chance with the shot. So Arsenal having lost one midfield man injured, David Hillier. May well be that Mike Marsh might not be out with us for the second half. Don Hutchison and Mark Walters, along with Mike Cooper, on the Liverpool bench. Redknapp. McManaman. Half-time, and Graham Souness will take some satisfaction in keeping out the opposition for 45 minutes. Mike Marsh limping off, David James going off his goal intact. Arsenal have tried to force the pace, but 0-0 thus far. We'll have the words of wisdom from Phil Thompson and Frank McClintock. That's our...
The talkback number 071 782 3888. 071 782 3888. The lines are open now. Match commentators Andy Gray and Martin Tyler.
Mike Marsh is back out again for Liverpool. Incidentally, one of 8 Englishmen in the Liverpool side today, which is quite unusual. That is the Welshman wearing number 9 who gets the second half underway. Liverpool finding out that life in the bottom half of the table means sometimes chiselling out results. And although there have been flashes of flair from Barnes and McManaman, of course, the main essence of their first half performance has to be solid and substantial in their defending. Merson. Just a little nudge by Rob Jones.
It's unnecessary as well, Mark, and it really was. You put pressure on your defenders in dangerous areas. Paul Merson wasn't going anywhere. He was having difficulty controlling the ball. No real need for Rob Jones to push him there.
Such a fairy tale first season with Liverpool, but of course he is still learning the game. Free kick to Arsenal. O'Leary going deep, Merson going for goal, and it's rather typified the way the game has gone so far.
It's interesting, I did a little piece before the game about the North Bank being empty now, and I think it's games like this that I was talking about, they'll miss them, Martin. No one there. I can remember being at Highbury many times, and they struggled in the first half of games, turned round, they've had that 12,000 in that North Bank roaring them on. It isn't there today. It's games like this, they'll miss it.
Barnes linking up beautifully with Jones. Two to his right. McManaman just forced a little bit wide. They're filling the centre now at Liverpool. It was Ian Rush who went in for the header. Mike Marsh who stretched. It's a damaged ankle, we've learnt that he's had strapped up. But he didn't move very convincingly there when he was the last man on the cross, and I think the reaction from the bench is now that they've surely got to make a change.
Yeah, I think the little shake of his head there says it all.
Well, two options for Graham Souness. He's got Mark Walters, but he's chosen Don Hutchison.
I wonder if that suggests that the decision is slightly negative rather than positive. I would have thought a left-sided player going off Mark Walters with his skill, ability, dribbling would be certainly a player to look to open up a defence. Don Hutchison, on the other hand, it may be that Graham was happy with what he's got and will settle for that.
The way Liverpool have defended this season, he can't be banking on that. Hutchison, of course, is capable of scoring and played at Wimbledon, I believe, as a striker and impressed the manager. Rush, of course, was absent then. Oh, miss by Nicol. Rush. Hutchison combining with Barnes for Rush. Beautiful play from Liverpool, but not the reward at the end of it.
Well, I'd have laid money on Ian Rush just nicking this over David Seaman as he came out here. Good movement all round. Hutchison's involved, but look, there's that run again from Rush. In behind Adams, and just now I thought, go on, he'll stick this one away. But he misses it with more than Ian Rush usually does. Good first touch. Tries to just slide it past, but is well wide with it.
Barnes. There's a zip about Liverpool now. But Parler asserting himself. Nicol. Behind Rush. Well, Barnes thought that was coming onto his left foot. It would have done, but Winterburn was alert to the considerable danger.
I think if he had known that Nigel Winterburn was so close to him, he certainly would have attacked the ball a lot earlier, John Barnes.
Campbell. Arsenal stung to some retaliation here, having nearly lost the first goal of the game, trying to score it. Merson. Well, we always remember the ones that he hits that go in. And there are a few that are less spectacular.
Well, if you're going to score spectacular goals, Mark, you have to be prepared to miss spectacularly as well. But he said he's not got a left foot, but a moment ago he bent in a wonderful little cross, you know, that really stretched Steve Nicol.
Nicol. Winterburn showing a bit of it to McManaman, but having the will to recover as Barnes did for Liverpool. He can turn. Rush trying to make the run once more, and confusion between Seaman and Linnigan, and it's a Liverpool corner.
Yeah, David Seaman won't be happy. I think he was in control of the situation. Again, watch the run. It's the rush run across defenders. You can see the goalkeeper's got it covered, but Andy Linnigan's taking no chances.
Well, we've heard one or two public criticisms of Liverpool by Graham Souness. What he said privately at half-time has certainly galvanised his team. They've got to watch their defending again as the game opens out. It'll give Arsenal a bit more room in which to show off their paces.
I think that's what the game needs to do. It needs to stretch a little bit, Martin. With Arsenal pushing up and Liverpool pushing up to a certain extent the first half, the game was played in a tight little area. Already early on in the second half, there's far more space between back fours, and therefore players with the ability of being able to get on the ball and do something with it.
Carter. It's a clever change of direction. Came off the head of Stewart. Barnes. Delightfully done with McManaman. McManaman against Adams, but not past him. It was a rousing tackle for the Arsenal fans by the captain.
Did a lot with his body, Steve McManaman, but did very little with the ball.
Campbell. Carter's come to the left. And loses Mark right. And that hit Jones. Could have gone inside the near post. Luck was with Liverpool then.
Well, I said in the first half that Jimmy Carter, when he got the ball, looked sprightly and bright. And certainly he's got on it 2 or 3 times already early in the second half. And he's managed to cause confusion in the Liverpool defence.
Arsenal looking now to turn what has been a tight game their way from the corner. And put out for another corner by Wright.
Mark Wright's not really picking anyone up, Martin. What he's trying to do is take the responsibility about the middle of the goal to make that area his own and attack any ball that goes in there.
Well, James is in trouble. Smith puts over the bar. It was a launching leap by Linnigan that gave the goalkeeper his lack of comfort here.
But you can see the confusion it does cause with all the big bodies in there. Smith's a bit unlucky. It takes an awful bounce for him.
It's still 0-0. But more suggestion already in the second half than perhaps in the first that it might not stay at 0-0.
Got a higher tempo to the game. That's the noticeable thing first of all for me. The pace is up certainly since the first half, when I think Liverpool were probably happy to keep it at 0 now, but perhaps they believe that they can go on and win the game, and perhaps that's what Graham Souness was telling these players at half-time.
Winterburn. Oh, Smith getting away here and getting the ball too, but in the end falling between 2 stools, neither controlling it or hitting it goalwards. Well, very difficult.
His run's excellent, and he pulls behind Steve Nicol, and he just can't control it. It is a difficult one, whether to hit it first time, whether to put your foot in it. You see, he just looks up, and that little look there to the goalkeeper might have just broken his concentration.
Barnes. McManaman's gone towards the near post. Rush trying to come from the deeper position. But given the number of talented attackers we've got in this game, well, let's pay tribute to the defenders who did their jobs in the first half. Certainly defenders who are being criticised, particularly those of Liverpool. Adams has had a good season, of course. His international recall. increasing, but not too many of them on target. That's a factor so far. It's one of the better kicks from David James. Well met by Barnes for Rush. Goes round Seaman, but out of room. And the most direct of attacks from Liverpool ends unhappily.
Well, Andy Linnigan gets out of jail, doesn't deal with it. Again, it's very uncharacteristic of Ian Rush. Normally in that situation, he's made his mind up. He's just going to slot this wide. But that's not like the Ian Rush of old, that control. That's a glorious chance he's had there.
The second of the second half. Smith. Campbell hits it quickly. And it took a touch on the way.
Well, already this 11 minutes has been better than the whole of the first half for incident and drama already. Smith just gets the nick. Campbell's on it in an instant. And that's an important touch from Mark Wright.
Smith going in with the header. Merson! Oh! Well, James got in the way of it. And it was a genuine stop. He anticipated which way Merson might hit it. If he hit it well, which he certainly did.
Well, he's gambled here, David James, and he's deserved his luck. Merson, left foot, not his strong, he swings at it. Goalkeeper gambles, and that, you're right, is a genuine, very, very good save.
Barnes. Now Carter. Papala picked out by Dixon. Papala goes for goal, getting caught up in the mood of the second half, which is much more optimistic from both teams. And the goalkeeper's starting to have to earn their money.
Well, that's what Ray Parlour's all about, isn't it? Making those driving runs from that central midfield area. And certainly Paul Stewart in particular has got to be careful and got to keep his eye on him.
Redknapp. McManaman. All anxiety when the ball is at McManaman's feet for Rush again. He's got the better of Seaman this time. Down he goes. Andy Linnigan. Penalty for Liverpool.
Well, the one thing you can say about Ian Rush is he doesn't get disappointed if he misses a chance. He keeps putting himself in there. We've talked about his running behind defenders. He gets a little break there. Andy Linnigan's right hand goes round his waist slightly. Not so sure how much contact was there. The referee had a good view. His decision, a penalty.
John Barnes for Liverpool. This for the lead. They have it. Graham Souness wants to get a message on straight away, but Barnes, who made his debut in the last time that Liverpool won at Highbury back in 1987, scores again from the spot here at a crucial stage.
Well, you couldn't have saved that if you'd put three goalkeepers in there, Martin. That, the perfect penalty almost.
But Arsenal will look back at the way the penalty was conceded. And I wonder whether David Seaman will be protesting afterwards, but he had the ball. The referee said no, Rush felt no, because he went in and he was entitled to go in for it. That was the key moment, really. Linnigan was trying to repair the situation after that.
I think the key part of it for me anyway, Mark, was the ball didn't leave the ground. I think if David Seaman lifted it off the ground at any time and then the challenge gone in, then a free kick would probably been given. We can have another look at the penalty incident. See if this clears it any. Again, you see, ball's gone, the goalkeeper's on his way out. Contact's made there. Don't think there's too much wrong. There's the right arm. Goes round Ian Rush. There's the referee's position. He's got a great view of it. I don't think Arsenal can have any complaints on any count.
Barnes, who's got the job back, of course, of taking penalties. Mike Marsh was a capable stand-in when Barnes was just feeling his way back into the team, and of course when he was out of the side. But it takes a player of strong nerve and sure-footedness, because given Liverpool's season so far, that was vital that he scored. You can't begin to think what it would have done to the morale had he missed. The morale's been good here, and Liverpool more than playing an even part in a splendid start to the second half, a complete contrast to the majority of the first, which was tight and cautious. And Rush, having wasted two good opportunities, kept on running, and was the player brought down for the penalty.
It's an example to all young strikers, though, Martin, that you should never get disappointed if you miss a few important chances. Ian Rush there, the perfect example. He kept putting himself in the firing line to miss the chances, and eventually it went his way.
Liverpool with just the one away win this season. That was in London, of course, against Queen's Park Rangers. And without a win at Arsenal since August 1987. They're one up now, but here's Campbell. And has he given another one? He has. Mark Wright.
Well, we had a very good view of this, Martin. I didn't see an awful lot of contact there. There's a little nudge with the elbow there. But the referee, again, full credit, had a great view of it. Just watch this. There is contact. There's the arm goes out. The referee's judged that illegal, and an opportunity for Arsenal.
The penalty entrusted to the man in form, Paul Merson. And James has saved it. And Mark Wright is first to say thank you very much indeed.
Oh, that's a brilliant save. Absolutely brilliant.
A corner. Linnigan. A tale of two penalties so far in the second half. David James, his first game at Highbury, and what a game it's turning out to be. Carter.
Well, we can take a breather now, Mark. That's all been happening, but look at this. He gambles, and he has to stretch all of his 6-foot-plus frame. He goes slightly early, but goalkeepers have to. It's well struck by Merson, but it's at the height that goalkeepers enjoy. Super stop.
He's got a terrific reach, a goalkeeper in whom Graham Souness has pinned a lot of faith. Always wanted him, the Liverpool manager will tell you. It took a while to get the signing through. But twice now, Paul Merson, the penalty will be remembered for longer, but the save perhaps was even better, the one from closer range prior to that. And Merson lashed out with his left foot. And Liverpool still lead. Header goes straight to the one player probably that Arsenal didn't want to present possession to, Barnes.
I'll tell you what, David James has saved his players from getting a right rollicking off their manager as well, Martin. Having worked very hard in the first half to keep them in the game, and then come out with this positive attitude, take the lead, and 4 minutes later concede a penalty. I'll tell you what, Graham Souness would have been furious.
Rush claims for handball. The referee letting the game go on. Mark Wright misjudging the header. Of course, David James had nothing to endure from fans behind the goal to try and put him off. But that takes nothing away from the athleticism of the stop.
I wonder how that unnatural backdrop does look when you've got faced with taking a penalty.
Hutchison. Barnes holding wide on the right, even further wide than McManaman. Still Barnes. The flag is up. as McManaman followed in.
But I left him 1-for-1 in Nigel Winterburn for a long time, and that's only encouragement that somebody like John Barnes needs to come in on that left foot.
I talked about the happy times that Barnes has had at Highbury. Not all with Liverpool. A couple of good wins I remember in his Watford days here.
Redknapp. Rush.
Looking like a player who's missed a few matches with injury, although he has missed his opportunities. He's looked very sharp to get there. And look at Barnes here, really expressing himself. And giving Andy Linnigan another moment of heartache. In the end, Barnes just over-elaborated a bit too much. Otherwise, we could have had a glorious goal. We could have had penalty number 3 in the match. With a clearance. Dixon. Here's Carter. For Smith. Decided to turn. The other option was to set up Parlour on the edge of the area. And Liverpool feeling the pressure at the moment. McManaman just hacking it away.
But that skill from John Barnes, that's the skill of the match for me. The way he just drags it there. Look at the way he embarrasses a defender of the quality of Tony Adams. And I thought here he was just going to do the same, but just overcooks it a little bit.
And that angle proved quite conclusively that there was no infringement. It was just a case of Barnes pushing it too far at the end of that sparkling run. Stewart. Parlour. Nickel ducked and let it run harmlessly behind. Well, Liverpool teams of the past would have been adept at killing the game off in this situation, but I think killing the game off is an expression is going to become rather archaic, because the change in the back pass law makes it harder and harder for teams to take the pace out of the game as they could in the past, using the goalkeeper, working the ball along the back line. And this game not over by any means. Paul Merson, I'm sure, trying to rid his mind of the misery of the penalty miss, or should we say the splendour of the save. Barnes came off the toe, but there was enough contact to get the ball out of the penalty area and out of play.
But that's what they've got to do in that situation where they're playing the ball in Arsenal. They've got to defend the second ball.
Smith, Winterburn, all hands to the pump for Arsenal. Smith again trying to impart the spin and swerve it.
Just gets caught under his feet a little bit there, Alex Smith. Couldn't quite dig it out. Nice little run from Winterburn. You see, it's stuck under his feet there a little bit and really can't get the power to trouble David James.
Well, we like to give you the facts of the match. What would fascinate me is the comparison between the two halves in all the vital areas. Barnes.
I think the biggest difference is attitude, isn't it? Of anything, you can have all these good players there, and suddenly if their attitude is a more positive one, then suddenly the game becomes totally different.
Yes, the action stemming from the attitude. Not too many offsides to litter up the proceedings, which still have 20 minutes to run. Fans watching will remember the leads that have been lost before this season. Arsenal threatening the present one through Carter, a former Liverpool player. He gets his cross in. Merson again. And it's a corner.
Great tackle from Steve McManaman, that was. Merson's eyes must have opened wide again. But just watch the way McManaman doesn't give this up. He'll come into the picture any second, and that's a crucial interception.
Trying to flick it on. Linnigan. It's not really running Arsenal's way. They've got another corner.
But that's what I mean about defending the second ball. They're going to have to accept that they'll lose a few flicks, but they've got to be tighter on the second ball.
Oh, that nearly went in direct from Merson, from the corner. Merson again. And, not quite the control on his left foot. And it flew towards David James, who was sure in his handling. It's the corner that provided the greater talking point.
He just managed to get a block on it, the big man, didn't he, in goals. And he is playing well, Martin, but he's riding his luck as well, and goalkeepers need that.
Stewart. Barnes. Going to be trying to fit in and show what he's made of and assert himself with a shout on the far side so that the play could be switched. Carter. Hutchison playing at left back at the moment after Bjornaby had gone on. Well, the crowd taking to Jimmy Carter in this game. Dixon for Carter. Arsenal trying to draw Liverpool out. They're not really obliging. They're defending the edge of the area. Dixon really saying, well, you play in a pass to cause us embarrassment, and if you give it away, we'll break like this. With Redknapp. Rush to the right, McManaman to the left. Here's Rush. Still Rush, it's really opened up. Oh, no luck for him again, the post, McManaman, oh dear.
Well, it's not Rush's day, because for me there he did everything absolutely right. He's showing a cool head here. Could easily have been drawn into a shot, but drags it inside, sizes up the situation, side foots it, he thinks that's in, hits the post, and really Steve McManaman from there makes a real hash of the rebound.
Well, I wonder what the consequences will be of the narrowness of that miss. A second goal, which would have made Liverpool more secure. Not just on the score sheet, but in their minds as well. Think back to the match at Manchester United when they played so well and were 2 up. And they were caught in a 2-2 draw. The day Ian Rush broke the goal-scoring record for Liverpool.
Liverpool have toyed with the formation slightly, Martin. What Paul Stewart doing, and he's doing a great job for them at it, is when they're under a little bit of pressure, he's dropping back and he's getting himself into any gaps that are along the back four and just saying, standing in there and saying, well, I'll just block off, and they're tucking Don Hutchison in slightly. They're playing like a kind of V formation with Hutchison and Redknapp and then Paul Stewart just behind them and just in front of the 2 centre-backs. And he's doing an excellent job in there for them at the moment.
Campbell's header. And it was Jones covering, and it's a corner.
It looked like he's complaining, his shirt was tugged at there. You see a little bit possibly, but good covering again though from Rob Jones.
Another corner from Carter. Another leap from Linnigan. Dixon. Carter again. Linnigan's come out of the penalty area to help get the attack going again. Dixon. And Redknapp not letting him see the penalty area. But the long throw still has to be dealt with for Liverpool.
Well, you don't often see that in Liverpool. They've got every single player within 20 yards of the goal.
Rush.
That's great play from Ian Rush, you know. If you're defenders in the back four, particularly Liverpool, when he's worked hard to get that ball and earned himself the free kick, and it just gives his back four now a chance to catch their breath and reorganise and settle down.
Andy Linnigan in the wars. Smattering of blood around the left eyebrow there. Well, George Graham still has one possible alteration to make. Neil Heaney has only made one brief appearance for the senior side. Arsenal have a team to get together for Wednesday night for the trip to Elland Road, and the difficulties looming for the manager, but what a cup tie it should be. You can see it live on Sky Sports. And on Sunday it's Tottenham against Southampton, when we're on the air at 11:30 for a 1 o'clock kickoff. So some stoppage time to add on to the 13 minutes to go. And the majority of the crowd of 27,500 hoping that Arsenal can extricate themselves here from a difficult position. They had the greatest chance of all, of course, to equalise with a penalty of their own. 4 minutes after John Barnes had scored from the spot for Liverpool. David James with a gigantic save from a gigantic goalkeeper. Merson. Looking for Smith. Will it drop Arsenal's way? Bjornaby, just in case it might have been a corner. It is a throw to Arsenal. And these closing minutes are going to pass very slowly from the Liverpool point of view. Unless, of course, they can score again.
Well, that's what they say, Mark. The best way to protect a 1-0 lead is to make it 2.
Hutchison. Parler picked him off. Winterberg. The crowd not helping Arsenal either at the moment, when the players need some support. More a note of complaint from them. Barnes. McManaman peeling away from Rush, who uses Bjornaby. He's got a fine strike in his left foot. As he gets more and more attuned to the pattern of things at Anfield, we might see him from free kicks as well, as though, of course, he's got Barnes to contend with, but as a prize weapon, he's certainly there. Campbell, who's forced the Arsenal penalty. Oh, James has kicked it straight to Merson and got away with it.
Well, this is always worth a try, I think, when you've got the power in your shot. Certainly when goalkeepers might be looking for a cross here and might be edging towards the far post. It's worth having a little pot occasionally.
Barnes. Redknapp. Now Stewart. Good work by Liverpool. It ends with the ball out of play, but there was a time in the game where Arsenal are champing at the bit to try and drive on and find an equaliser from somewhere.
A straight pass from John Barnes. Something new this second half. He really has had a good second half, John Barnes. His touch has been lovely on the ball.
It was Rush racing back again. He put so much into it that he just for a second showed a bit of fatigue as Rob Jones rolled it back to where Rush might have run through the middle. Right. Here's Merson, found by Parler. Winterburn charging up on the inside, and again, some capable defending from that deep midfield role from Paul Stewart. Oh, McManaman almost playing Barnes in. Stewart there again. Parler stopping it, reaching Barnes the second time. And again it's Stewart.
He's just getting himself in that little area, isn't he? That little hole. Any danger, he's just trying to get himself in there. Doing an excellent job at it. But that's what Liverpool of old would be good at. What we'll see in the last couple of minutes when they've got the ball. Keeping it. Passing the ball around. Keeping the ball away from Arsenal.
Hutchison with the wind taken out of his sails. Paul Stewart called it a dream move when he had the chance to go to Liverpool from Tottenham, to go back north where his family were based. It hasn't turned out to be a dream time, but he's certainly playing an effective part in what would be a splendid result for Liverpool. They're 8 minutes plus stoppage time away from it. The John Barnes penalty and the David James penalty save from Paul Merson, the key factors in an invigorating second half after a pretty stale first 45 minutes. And George Graham is going to take off one substitute, David O'Leary, who's been on since early in the game in midfield for David Hillier. And on comes Neil Heaney, the England under-21 forward, who operates basically in wide positions, can do the job either side. Barnes, Rush reacting quickly again, and Linegan couldn't quite cope with it. McManaman. Here's Hutchison. Out of harm's way by Nicol. The second half has shown much more of Liverpool as a team with flair, but they've been consistent right from the first whistle in the resolution of their play. Can they sustain it to the last whistle? Smith.
Well, they're going to be asked some questions, aren't they, in the last, what we've got, 7 minutes to go. You certainly could see Arsenal beginning to knock a few balls in there and really testing the heart of the Liverpool defence.
Winterburn. And Redknapp stuck with him. Mark Walters, who is stripped and now putting the top back on. Walters, incidentally, is Liverpool's leading scorer in Premier League games only, with 6. Rush didn't get there the first time, but was able to go on and now give Arsenal something of a problem, but not a major one. Smith. And Heaney got there before Wright. Mark Wright claimed that he wasn't as late as the referee thought he was, but I don't think that substantiates that view.
Don't think he's got much of a case, has he?
In from Merson. Smith. Who had the final touch there? Oh, the referee's given a corner. The linesman, I don't think, was quite so sure.
I think the ref's right. I thought John Barnes got the last touch on it.
We've talked about Arsenal's height advantage. Can they show it? Oh, they're helped when the goalkeeper does fumble. And James looks at the referee to say he was foul done. Would have just soothed the nerves a little bit for Liverpool if James could have come and taken that cleanly. Here's Campbell. It's too long. Well, Heaney kept it in, but gave it straight to Jones. And that will take up a bit more time. And Winterburn, who has been booked, being told to calm it down.
Yeah, and I think the referee quickly reassuring Nigel Winterburn that calming it down was all he was going to say to him.
Rush. Well, Winterburn here. Now, Nigel Winterburn looks as though he's going to be sent off here. It was another rash challenge, booked in the first half for a bad tackle, and he's off. And only a minute or so earlier, he'd gone in for a tackle which might have produced a yellow card had he not been booked earlier in the game, and this one I think gave the referee little option.
I think you're right, Martin. I mean, especially 30 seconds after he'd been warned, and you're right, 30 seconds ago, that tackle against Rob Jones, had he not already been booked, it most probably would have earned him a booking. And I think the referee was trying to be kind to him and not send him off. But 30 seconds later to have to deal with another very rash tackle, I don't think the referee had any option there.
So Liverpool with a goal advantage, a man advantage, and Arsenal who pride themselves on their resolution, really being called into question now to try and get an equaliser with 10 men. With a couple of minutes to go, and McManaman quite legitimately with the ball at his feet, doing a bit of teasing and taunting and using up a bit of time. Well, a year ago, Arsenal drew with Manchester United, and that was the start of a 17-match unbeaten finish to their league season. They had too much ground to make up, and Leeds and Manchester United got away too far. But there were hopes, though be it ambitious ones maybe, that this would be a fixture here, a high-profile one again, to set Arsenal on their way up the Premier League table. But it's gone wrong for them. Merson! Oh! Well, while he's still out there, there's always a hope of a recovery.
What a very good strike. I mean, he keeps telling us, Paul Merson, that he hasn't got a left foot. But I'll tell you what, there's not an awful lot anyone could have done better than that. Strikes it quite beautifully. Straight down his throat, though. This has been a big day, Martin, for both sides. Arsenal, as you say, would have been looking for 3 points to really say to the rest of the Premier League, we've still got a chance. But for Liverpool, they've shown a lot of good qualities here. The players have worked very, very hard for each other. There's certainly been a good spirit out there amongst them from what I've seen. And they've laced that with some quality at times as well.
Linesman, after the ball had gone, flagging to give Arsenal a free kick, one assumes.
Well, every set piece will bring fear to Liverpool, that's for sure, because they haven't dealt convincingly with them all day. Scrambled away more than anything.
Carter. And Dixon arm raised in hope rather than expectation. It's a goal kick.
Yeah, it was a poor free kick from Lee Dixon. He'll be first to admit that. When you put four big 6-footers in there, you really want the ball in the middle there, and he actually drove it round to the edge of the box to Jimmy Carter.
These two great clubs have one thing in common. When the results go badly, the critics seem to sharpen their pencils that much more quickly. And Liverpool have felt the vitriol. And it may be Arsenal's turn now. But here's Campbell for Carter. Liverpool aren't making off with 3 points yet.
Well, it looks like the big man might be getting what he's wanted since he arrived at Anfield, his first clean sheet. And just what that'll do for a goalkeeper's confidence.
Well, there have been plenty of shots. The one goal from a successful penalty, and the most memorable save as far as the headline writers are concerned from an unsuccessful penalty. It will mean so much to Graham Souness and his management team. 2 minutes of stoppage time, but it has turned out to be a special Sunday for Liverpool. David James preserving the lead with a wonderful penalty stop from Paul Merson after John Barnes had been unerring in his aim from 12 yards after Andy Linnigan had brought down Ian Rush. Well, a return to winning ways for Liverpool in what is always a high-profile fixture. A month which has shown several signs that Arsenal could still fulfil their considerable potential ends in disappointment for George Graham and his team. Not the ideal showing before their FA Cup trip to Leeds on Wednesday, and the scar of Nigel Winterburn being sent off as well. Liverpool have had time to reflect on their shortcomings. That 15-day break may be a chance for the dressing room to get back together again. Some harsh facts faced up to perhaps as well. And the outcome from this match, much more optimistic. Graham Souness has needed all the breadth of his shoulders, but the weight he carries doesn't seem quite so heavy this evening. The Liverpool travelling fans celebrate. Arsenal 0, Liverpool 1. Here's Nick Collins.